Oh boy. Jordan, my kids would love that. My kids would absolutely love that. They would make so much fun of me and they would love it. Listen, everyone, happy Friday. Good morning. What's going on? We're good now, right? Yeah, we're good now. I still see people like on the delay triggering the downs up. What I was saying was that you guys are all one positive, bright bunch. Bright, like, as in, like, your attitude, the way that you view life is really positive. If I was not coming from a good place, I think I would be blinded by that light. I understand why people jump in here and they hit the thumbs down. They just can't handle the goodness. It's true. When you walk into this environment, it's a little different. They can't understand, oh, Bitcoin's down 4%. How could anyone be happy? Right? The free world's got them shook. I understand it. I really do. It's contagious though. And you guys have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful view of life. This growth mindset that you bring. It's beautiful. Ken, the conversation tomorrow morning with my cup of coffee to watch is going to be with Ken. Ken also really a really positive influence in the world, dropping some knowledge on CTM that we all need to consider. Really wonderful conversation. You're going to love it. You're really going to enjoy it. And regardless of whether or not it happens to be my base view or not, I want to understand all views to help me form my own. I'm looking for that triangle, right? I'm trying to find out different views from all sides and me in the middle, making up my own mind over what I believe to be correct. All right, everyone. Let's get to it. As in this morning over here, Bitcoin is down 4%, trading at $33,176. We could see that we were rejected by the trend line once again. It looked good on the open of Asia. It looked like we were going to break out over here above this trend line. It was time to get a little excited because breaking out above this trend line is a good sign. It's a really good sign that an important repair is taking place and we could breathe and perhaps even understand that a bottom around 30,000 is being put in. But that's not what happened, right? And we know because coming into that yesterday session, we said, listen, we're coming into resistance. We got to break above the resistance. We looked at it from different vantage points, right? Let's look at it right now because we are looking at a breakout, a retest, and a resumption off. That resumption is still in play. You're seeing higher highs being made on the 8 hours. And at this point, you're still seeing higher lows being put in. Actually, someone was right on point over there. Chris is like, listen, if it stops around here, it's made a higher high and a lower low, and it looks bullish, and it looks like some type of near-term bottom could be being put in. But we're not there yet, fam. We still got a lot of work to do, and most importantly, things are unclear. Things remain unclear, and even regaining this trend line over here, this yellow caution line, that would just mean at that point things are looking a little bit better. You could take it a little bit further and see that we are definitely, just consolidating in this range. A break above this trend line, that doesn't get us out of anything in the near term. That's just like those that are holding their breath could take a little bit of take some air and things are looking a little bit better. We got resistance far above. We are going nowhere. We're consolidating sideways and we don't know where the next leg is going. We do not know if it's up or down. Below this trend line, things are looking not so well and we could be rolling over. We could be taking out the recent lows and where it stops, nobody knows. And that's the situation. So when I say things are unclear, right? When I say that, well, for me, people get confused. Jordan, you're like, things are unclear, but you're buying spot. Yeah, absolutely. Is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? In my opinion, not financial advice. Follow not what I say, what I'm doing. I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm adding to my spot position. It's the first time since prior to the halving when I was fully positioned in that I've added to my spot Bitcoin as Bitcoin's down 50%, what I determined to be mid-cycle over here. Yep, I think it's an amazing time to buy Bitcoin. I think it's a really good time to be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. But if you're looking to trade Bitcoin, things are not clear at all. You got to wait, and you have to wait, and it could take a lot of patience. It could take, towards the end of the summer until we break outside that trend line. And we don't know if it's going to be next week. We don't know if it's going to be next month or if it's going to be into September. But when we break above this trend line, momentum should continue then to the upside. We should see 65,000 all-time high taken out soon thereafter. And that's going to be a time to trade again once the trend. The last time that happened, right, was the technical breakout of the bull market. When we broke out of the bull market over here, why can't my chart go down any further than that? It's really weird. When we broke out, remember I drew this line for you? We've been doing the same thing over and over different ways, right? We've been doing this over and over different ways. And this trend line, once it broke, that's when I said we've entered the bull market and we were trading this all the way up, right? It was on that famous day. You could go back and watch the May 14th video, Friday. The day before, I said, listen, I'm wrong. That's not a V. I thought this was the V right over here. And at the bottom, I'm like, now begins the parabolic move. And then a few weeks later, or a couple of weeks later, as we rolled over, May 13th, that's not a V. That's definitely not a V anymore. I don't know what's going on. Next day, May 14th, things are muddy. Things are very unclear. Get neutral. Since then, trading has been off the table. It was a nice ride while it lasted. Not anymore. Now's the time for patience. All right. Peter, let's start this Friday session off making it right? Thanks, family, moderators, contributors, and all positive participants for making this the place to be for clarity, learning, blessings to all. Thank you, Peter, for each and every day, for bringing our focus for where it matters, for thanking the moderators, the contributors, everyone participating. You left a comment yesterday afternoon. The bot automatically deleted it. I'm not sure what it was, but I saw it was from you. I was interested. Please go ahead and email me. Let me know what's going on. I'm sorry that the bot took away the comment. The thing is that it prevents a lot of scam and spammers, and it really helps people from sending Bitcoin to me for whatever reason they would do that. Like, listen, we have to protect as many people as possible. We do have some good news over here, right? The dominoes keep falling. We now have the Tanzania. Have you ever had food from Tanzania? It's absolutely extraordinary. Central bank confirmed it is investigating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency at the request of the president. The bank is working on the directives given. Like, I was watching out for what happens in Asia. We're seeing, and almost rapidly right now, South America looking to adopt Bitcoin. Now it looks like Africa is joining. It is contagious. People are paying attention out there to what is going on. We're looking at over here on chain. Listen to this. Watch this. The fourth largest Bitcoin whale started buying Bitcoin again. Just bought 4,100 Bitcoin, $143 million added during the sell-off last week. This mysterious whale had previously sold 1,500 Bitcoin at $40,000 2 weeks ago. Right? Remember when everything got unclear? Well, for us, it was 50,000. But at $40,000, perhaps it was a break of this trend line. Yeah, people do TA, right? Unloaded 1,500 Bitcoin, right? But now just bought the dip, bought another 4,100, right? So that's a net gain of 2,500 Bitcoin. The wallet started buying Bitcoin in 2019, now owns 115,000 Bitcoin, right? At $4 billion US dollar. Follow the money. I'm going to keep this one up because I want to use that as reference. This is beautiful over here in beginners Forex CTM yesterday. Listen, from the cat rat, I love the avatar. Admittedly, Bitcoin interests me significantly more than FX. However, as someone looking to improve their trading skills, I found the last two, Tuesday and Thursday, right? From now on, every Tuesday and Thursday after the live stream, CTM out there on FX, going over the markets, massive education, videos incredibly helpful. I did not expect them to be as beneficial for me as they turned out to be. I can't overstate the value of being able to watch someone with 20 plus years experience break down a chart into each of the separate pieces of information he considers before making a move or not. Just as important. I can already see how the foundational principles will translate over to Bitcoin analysis or altcoins. If you join CTM for the Bitcoin content like I did, please do not underestimate the value of these Tuesdays and Thursday sessions. I am very glad I gave them a chance and look forward to learning more from the future. Thank you, Jordan. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Listen, Sean, those are going to go on a playlist for sure. And you read my mind. We're on the same page. I was thinking of doing it. I'm keeping that as an open reminder to get that done today. Jeffrey, feel like the quality of the production of the content and even the flow has improved over the last month or so. This is very important. I want to focus on this Friday with you for 1 second. Why? Things were getting a little messy out there. Things were getting messy as the price of Bitcoin fell. The negativity was rising. The toxicity was really out of hand, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. This is not why I share my experiences with you, right? And I learned that actually it is the silent majority whose lives have been changed. I showed my brother-in-law yesterday, Rich's Porsche winning, Rich's race car with the CTM logo, winning the race. And he's like, wow, that's so cool they would do that. He's like, yeah, he said, this paid for it. This paid for it. Not only that, he's helping the kids. He's putting kids inside the court system, coming out 16 years old, helping them work on the team to give them something, some type of hope, some type of direction, some type of guidance in life. Conquering the markets all day long. The silent majority is big. We have a lot of loud, unruly, negative kids out there, right? And I had to work really hard on turning this around. It wasn't easy. I feel like this week was pivotal in doing that. I feel like this week we got the core back. It took a lot of effort. It's really important. And on this Friday, it's just as important to sit here and realize, all right, the internet got really negative, right? We realized what was going on, and we took concentrated efforts to go ahead and fix that and correct that. The only way this works, conquering the markets all day long, is doing it from the correct mindset. This is the only way you could do that. When you get distractions, when you get negativity, rat and apples ruin the whole bunch. It's true. Thank you, Jeffrey, for noticing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. It's really, really important. So what else? Thank you. Thank you for that, Dark Side. Jordan is one of the few traders I know who will jump in the fire with his followers and lead the flock out of patience and fear. We're in this together. Crypto, listen to this over here. This is really important for setting the mindset over here, right? You want to get into the charts? We're going to, today's not it. We've done our work all week. Today's Friday. Today we need to set the pace for what's coming next. This is really important. I'm going to get into the title at the end. The title of this video over here, I'll read it as I get to it to remind me where we're going with this, right? It's really, thank you, Peter. It's really, really important. I'm going to close out with that, right? And there's going to be some nuggets there for the taking. That's for sure. Right now, by the way, what keeps happening over here in Asia? It's in Asia, we see this massive selling overnight, right? Are we still seeing the miners that are being forced to leave China have no choice but to dump their reserves in order to fund the move of operations outside of China? I mean, it seems logical. Usually it's the simplest explanation that is, the answer. What is that? Malcolm's razor. Obviously that seems to be what is happening. It's important what happens now as we're in this area. We're coming into an area of support, right? We want to see this hold over here. Breaking down further, well, listen, we're still under pressure and massive pressure below this line. Over the weekend, could things get ugly? Yep. This is a descending triangle, right? You can see it over here. A breakdown over there. Oh, especially after a fake out, it could be ugly. Be prepared. Prepare for the worst. What is the worst, by the way? Prepare for the worst. What is the worst? What is the worst for you? Is the worst for you Bitcoin going to $20,000? I don't know. Is the worst for me Bitcoin going to zero? Why do I say my stop loss is zero? But even more importantly, when I say my stop loss is zero, I'm talking about on my spot position, the stuff stored inside a cold wallet with keys in one country, keys in another. Why on earth would I say my stop loss is zero? And why do people, more importantly, when they hear that, like, this guy, what, he lost me there. Why would I listen to this guy who seems to have knowledge, but then says something silly like his stop loss is zero? Forget him. What does he know? Yeah, listen, prepare for the worst. What is the worst? I watch what's going on around me. Did you see that this week the U.S. military held an exercise, and what would happen? How would they respond if the internet went off in the United States for 2 weeks? All right. Did you see just recently the World Economic Forum? Klaus? The guys that are telling you by 2030, the Great Reset, you're going to own nothing and never be happier, right? Do you know that these guys, before the pandemic, they did a simulation, right? And it was with the Bill Gates Foundation and Johns Hopkins University, and it was just a couple of months before the pandemic, and they did a simulation that what would happen if there was a worldwide pandemic that spread exactly as it did. They just did one that what happens if the internet went offline worldwide? How this would disrupt supply chains. Why would they want to do this? Do you think that perhaps they're preparing for the Great Reset and they're trying to get more and more people outside their livelihoods dependent on the government dole, on stimulus? The stimulus is not just happening in the United States, by the way. Here in Mexico, people are now given a few thousand pesos a month. It's happening worldwide, right? Do you think that it's possible that the internet could go offline with all these people happening to be doing the same exercises at the same time? And if that happens, do you not think that Bitcoin has the possibility of spiking down to who knows where? Why would you have a stop loss in? Do you not realize that once the internet goes back online and that satellite up in space starts going ahead and putting out the blockchain to everyone and all the nodes pick it up over there and it repopulates and that price is going to fly back up, right? Understand why you do things, but take a moment and really think them through. This is not some type of game, right? It's game theory is another thing. You need to play out every option and possible possibility of what could happen. That's what being a Bitcoiner is. When I say my stop loss is zero, there's a reason why my stop loss is zero, and it's to protect myself and my family. By the way, you're talking to someone who's got diamond hands. Whatever, back in March when you saw Bitcoin trade down to 3,600, 3,800, I didn't sell my Bitcoin, right? By the way, Bitcoin at 32,000, basically a 10x higher. Yeah, it feels good. I'm not worried about it. All right. Now, it wasn't just me. There was 58% of the people holding Bitcoin. You could see it right over here. 58% of the people who had been holding Bitcoin for a year or longer, they didn't sell Bitcoin at 3,600, 3,800, whatever the low was. They didn't sell with me either. It's not just me. The line is strong. We are strong. Now you have a lot of people up here buying Bitcoin in 2021, right? These people have weak hands. You guys all know Dave Portnoy, right? Buying Bitcoin. What did he buy Bitcoin at? He bought Bitcoin at $18,000, sold it at $14,000, right? And then you have people buying Bitcoin over here, 5,000, 60,000. They've all sold their Bitcoin. The people that have been selling Bitcoin over the last 2 months have been people who are holding Bitcoin for a very short time. And who are they selling it to, by the way? Well, they're selling it to this guy over here. Where is he? They're selling it to this guy. This guy's all the big wallets are happy to take your Bitcoin, right? You got to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's not a game. It's not a get rich scheme. It's a thoughtful understanding that time on your side is going to lead to something that could perhaps be life-giving. Look at this over here. Look at this comment. Thank you. Awesome comment by usual. By the way, I have something really interesting. I believe you might love to share the community, right? With all this macro Bitcoin talk. If you Google US dollar Bitcoin, it brings up a chart. Click on the max button. It's going to show a perfect visual representation of the purchasing power history between Bitcoin and the US dollar from inception. And from the beginning until now, the dollar has lost over 99% of its purchasing power when compared to Bitcoin historically. Super interesting perspective. You go over here, this is 1 year, and what do you see? Boom, right? Let's go to 5 years. Boom. What about the max? Let's click on the max button. Boom. Where is this going and why? By the way, it's not just the dollar. We all looked at this yesterday. This is long term. People getting caught up in this little area over here, right? The new people coming in, not realizing what they're doing, not doing their research, buying Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin mid-cycle, right? What do you think is going to happen? Are they going to turn this around? Are we going to see the dollar all of a sudden start gaining purchasing power, right? Why? Because they're not printing 40% of the supply in the last 12 months? Why? Because they have no choice but to try to inflate themselves out of the way. When you start seeing, you remember Janet Yellen, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, when she was Fed chairman, she's like, there'll never be another crisis in our lifetime. There'll never be another crisis in our lifetime. Did you believe her? Do you believe them today when they said inflation's transitory? Do you believe them? Are you taking the blue pill and are you happy to live in whatever bubble you live in and just listen to the TV programmers at night just tell you and program you? Or are you manning up over here and you taking the orange pill? Do you know what's going on around you? And are you ready for the truth? And are you ready to make decisions to prepare to help you and your family? Let's take a look at this over here. Michael Saylor talking about what's going on.
Most Americans can't imagine their currency weakening. They're arrogant about it. If you go to Argentina, the currency weakened from 1 peso to the dollar to 155 pesos to the dollar over 20 years. You lost 99.5% of all your wealth because everything's going up in pesos. Are you getting richer or is the peso collapsing? So I think people in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and Argentina, they get it. They understand that if the currency is collapsing, your stocks aren't getting more valuable. Americans can't conceive of American currency weakening. And so if you're stuck in the American mindset, let me just give you one more metaphor. Like I'm sucking the oxygen.
We don't need another metaphor. Are you stuck in the American mindset? Are you stuck in the American mindset? Yeah, King Dollar, not realizing the purchasing power of the dollar continues to devalue and devalue and devalue. This was a great lead in, by the way. This is amazing over here. Kaz Harris, you know, the Bit Goats said expect 3,000. This is the best lead in of the day. This is the best lead in of the week. Bit Goats, whoever that might be, said expect $300,000 in the future. But he's shorting for now, waiting for the best spot to buy at value. Let's take a look at this really second. Let's see how stupid that is, right? Why is it stupid? Let's take a look at it. This is a thread over here from Kalo, right? Crypto is the only place I know outside of Forex where people try to nail such tiny micro moves that are completely opposed to their macro thesis. What's my macro thesis? What's your macro thesis? This is the macro thesis, okay? The dollar go down, Bitcoin go up. You got it? Check it out over here. Imagine if Bitcoin were trading at 1/1000th of its current price. You believe there's a solid chance it's going to $100 and it's now $34, okay? Forget the current price of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's trading at $34. You think it might has the potential of going to $100, right? And we're not even talking $300 or the equivalent of 300,000. We're just saying 100,000. But you really want to try to stack more sats by going against your macro bullish thesis by shorting it down to $32.50 first. Why? You tell yourself you can enjoy more upside when Bitcoin does go up, but why really? Greed. It's statistically proven that most people are terrible traders. There are two solutions to help you make terrible traders more profitable. Study, put in the work, put in the time, and sweat equity. People don't want to work. People don't want to learn. CTM included, the CTM training course, including over a year's worth of videos and weekly training sessions. They don't get the views as the lessons and training sessions on Bitcoin do. Why is that? It's the essential foundational stuff. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the sweat equity. Study, put in time, right? Pay your tuition to the market. Maybe you'll finally get where you're trying to get. Maybe you'll realize you never will. Those are two just as important things. Many people, right? We got many people inside CTM who are profitable for their first time, who are paying taxes, right? They put in their tuition, they got it. And then also, maybe you realize that will never be you. That's just as important to realize you're not the type of guy who has the ability to trade the markets profitably, and maybe you should just be investing long-term, stacking stats. Very important. Trade less. It means to zoom out. This means risk off, because going back to our example, when you expect the price to go from 100, but from $34, a 294% up, you're trying to nail that scalp short, right? But the only way true to stack that type of stats, I want to come back down over to here, right? It's a good thread. I'm going to go ahead and actually like it from the top over here. You could go ahead and find it on my profile. This is what I want to get to, right? So here's what I'm getting at. The majority will not make it doing this, trying to time the market. If you're bullish, be patient and what? Listen to this. And trade the trend when it happens. We have over here the cheat sheet to show you. It's called the most important trend line in crypto. If you want to trade, wait until the trend is in your favor. Wait until the momentum is back. And that's the time to begin trading. Right now, if you're a trader, you're not trading. Jordan, how is that possible? Right now, if you know what you're doing, the market is extremely unclear. It does not make sense to be in the market taking risks. You want to take risks when you have momentum at your back. You want to take risks as Bitcoin breaks out into the bull market and it's got a massive trend in place. That's the time to take risks. That's the time to trade. Right now is not that time. Right now is the time to be doing your research, to be firming up your abilities. Do you see we got some time right now? What is Jordan doing? All right, guys, we're going to put the work in. Tuesdays and Thursdays, extra sessions, working on FX, working on your skill set, making sure as we get ready here to rock and roll, you're going to be sharp, you're going to be crisp, and you're going to be able to crush it. Right? So, good lead in, my brother. That was awesome to set us up for that, as like the big guy is talking about, short in Bitcoin over here. And guess what? Bitcoin could go down. It could test the mid 20,000s. It could take out 20,000. Prepare for the worst. And if that's the worst for you, that's fine. Make sure that you're prepared for it. I'm prepared at this point for Bitcoin going down towards zero. I'm prepared. I've actually prepared and thought about what it would mean, why it could potentially happen, and why, and make sure that if that does happen, understanding that it will be quick. It will be. What is the Fed's response if the internet goes off for 2 weeks? What's the government's response if the internet goes off for 2 weeks? Well, it's going to be a massive amount of stimulus. They have no choice. We got to do it. We got to help everyone. And then what happens? Businesses ruined, more small businesses ruined. Jeff Bezos and Amazon, they're like this, right? Elon, I care about the environment. He's like this, is happy. He becomes the world's richest man. They're all happy. They're taking your money and they're happy doing it, right? Anyway, here we are. So Friday session, I'm gonna play some Honeymoon over here, instrumental. Check in with your comments, see what's going on, and we're gonna take a look at the equity markets. Actually, we're gonna take a look at the indexes. We're gonna take a look at gold and silver. We're gonna do it weird. We're gonna do that on a 2-hour time frame. We're gonna do it all, but I'm first gonna play some Honeymoon vocals over here. Goodness. Oh, it's twice in one day. Let's get a thumbs up for that business over there. This was the best lead-in over here. It was so good. It was so. You guys just missed the rant of the week. You really did. You just missed the rant and I don't have it backed up, so I got to do it again because it was so important. I don't think I'm going to be whatever. I got to get out there and do it. I got to give it my best. This is such a good question. The goal is to stack sats, and you don't get more sats by holding. I mean, it's true, right? You're not gaining your current position. You're not adding sats. You're not adding Bitcoin to your overall position if you're just hodling. You can't do that, right? But here's the thing: is not the time to be trading to try to stack more sats. Why? Things are very, very unclear, right? Remember May 13th, May 14th, somebody just jumped into the lake and did a giant cannonball, kicking up all the mud. May 13th, May 14th, this analogy is used both days. Things are very unclear. The water is muddied. We don't know what's going on, get neutral, and there's been no trading since. The trading took place, right, on the breakout of the bull market and all the way up until things got unclear, and there's been no trading since, and things have been very unclear since, including when we broke above here. When we broke above the trend line over here, June 13th, watch the video, I'm like, things are still unclear. Things are still very uncertain. They're a little more clear than they were yesterday, but they're very unclear. It's not the time to trade. And it's still not the time to trade. Right now, you're swimming against the current. Once you break above this trend line over here, did you ever swim with the current in a river? Did you ever start doing the cross stroke with the current going with you? You fly. You fly. Did you ever try swimming against the current? You don't go anywhere. Right now, you're swimming against the current. You're over and over again. You're swimming against the current. You keep trying to catch the bottom over here, and you keep losing your sats. So you're not stacking sats. You're losing sats at this particular moment. If you want to try to stack sats, work on your game. Get involved in the FX sessions. Watch the daily videos over here. Firm up your mentality. Firm up your mindset. Firm up your position. What's your position? Understanding why you got diamond hands. And then you could look to stack sats once we get the momentum back with us. And it could be a while, which is why we keep working now every Tuesday and Thursday on FX, sharpening those tools. Right now we have our axes and we'll keep sharpening them, and we're sharpening. There's people out there, they're just like floundering about, and the goblins are destroying them. Right? But we're sharpening our axes. We are making sure that we got all our arrows ready, and we're getting ready. And when we see Gandalf coming down the hill, right? And we see the army of eagles coming there on the side, then we're gonna attack. Now's not the time to attack. So you're not stacking sats right now, right? And maybe you're gonna get lucky. Maybe today's the day you catch the bottom. Maybe today's the day you catch the bottom. But we could go much lower, right? We could prepare for the worst. If we lose this area of support over here, we're going down possibly mid-20s. Maybe even taking out 20,000. I'm prepared for zero. I'm prepared for Bitcoin, the internet going offline, and making sure if that happens that I'm protected, my family's protected, because I game played it out, because I'm watching what's going on. It's not the time to take risks. If you want to stack sats when we break out over here and we got some momentum with us. This thread goes on to talk about, and very clearly, how most people are going to actually, instead of holding on to that position and increasing in value, why they're trying to stack sats against the trend, they're going to wind up losing their overall position, right? Read the thread. It's a good thread. It's very important stuff over here. Yeah, but it's a good comment. We got to work together, and we got to play some honeymoon right now and continue reading these comments to take it further. Frederico, thank you. Ryan, I mean, listen, whether you love me or not, that's irrelevant, right? You feel like all I do is promote my business. The CTM program costs next to nothing. $50 a month. The education is absolutely invaluable. I know many people have taken courses that cost tens of thousands of dollars. It got them nowhere. Involved in CTM, you know, $500 a year, and they're like, it turned my life around, right? Regardless of what you think, right? The education provided on these live streams day in and day out is enough to change people's lives. It's way more valuable than like anything else out there. And that's just the way it is, you know? So, regardless of what you think, you know, come check it out, see what's going on, change your life. You know, that's up to you though. I love it. All right, we got the mic on. The mic is on as we get going over here. I do want to cover the markets a little bit over here. When I say markets, I'm talking about the indexes, gold and silver, and the DXY. And I want to do it since it's Friday, right? I'm doing it. The markets closed. Can you imagine? How do the markets close? It's the year 2021. We live in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week society, and the markets close over the weekend. You know, that's funny. But listen to this. You know? Hold on one second. I just got caught up by this comment. I know Bitcoin is unclear right now, but I recall correctly, there was talk of the blow off top occurring 150 days after mid-cycles dip bottom. So listen, I don't see the rest of the question. Boom. Yeah. Many different things here. The first thing is this. Brother. The first thing is this. Okay, lots of love to Heath and his family today. Lots of love to Heath and his family today, everyone. Please say a prayer, you know? Listen, it's Gus, right? I thought it was going to be silent too. Earlier in the week, we were talking about mission control, right? The CTM modeling team has done massive work this past week. We got Ted away at the Festival of Learning this week. Next week, we're getting together and we're talking about everything that we've worked out. You know, look, the whole idea is to not put out a model that to be like, listen, no matter what happens, this one's right, but to be right. And at the same time, we don't want to make changes where like we're just trying to curve fit it. So we want to make sure everything being presented is as accurate as we can get. With that in mind, pay attention to what Ken talks about this weekend on tomorrow's video, and pay attention to what he's presenting and consider it. Now, some of the work we did this week on the Bitcoin CTM modeling was like really like you just can't deny. We used like eerily accurate. We're all going to look at it together, but we're going to make sure what we're putting out there is what we believe is offering the best roadmap forward. And the window, right? Yeah, is it between or moved out to November now? The window we're looking at is actually, it's quite vast. It's between the middle of September into November. So we're not, you know, it's a window, and we're going to do our best to follow price and make sure we get out at the top. Some interesting stuff shared yesterday on Twitter, right? Showing some undeniable symmetry in the markets. We're going to continue doing our best to be as focused as possible, but we got to get it right. And things are unclear right now, right? And there's also no rush right now. What do I mean by that? I mean, look, if we were breaking out, do you remember, by the way, do you remember, like, fast forward, as we were over here, I wanted to put out 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market, but I'm like, yeah, okay, there's no rush. Once we broke out, then I got it out to you, right? Like, there's no rush right now to jump ahead just to get something out there. We want to make sure it's as best as possible, or find the model that is the best one. I don't care who puts it out there. We just collectively want to understand what's the best model to follow. And I will follow models in Bitcoin, programmed money, with psychology, human psychology involved, because that's proven to be the best way, right? But once we break out of over here, by then we need it. Right now, we got to make sure we put in the work and get it right. Listen, some charts over here, starting on gold or silver. On gold, 2-hour time frame, right? Do you remember as price came down over here last week, and I was like, it's too soon to do anything. It's just too soon to do anything. We need to see give us some time and see what happens. Don't try to buy the dip, right? That's a pretty big waterfall down. Don't try to buy the dip, even though we're into some support. Let's wait and see what happens. Nothing's happened. Do you see that nothing has happened? Price has gone sideways, just continues consolidating on this support. There's no edge there to be had. You know, let's zoom out a little bit, come back to the 8-hour, give it a little, that's squiggly and fuzzy. I don't like that. You know, let me come over here. Let me come up to a higher time frame, go to the daily time frame, right? Listen, the analysis I gave over here as price came all the way down into the support remains the same. Let the market repair, let the market improve itself, repair itself before looking to try to pick up longs over here. This was a pretty negative event that took place. We could be rolling back over and lose that support next week. You know, we could bounce higher, but there's no edge today. So wait for the edge. You know, same thing on silver over here. You could see it consolidating between support and resistance right now, right? It's not the time to attack. So don't attack. Don't try to be a hero. Look for the momentum. Look for the sweet spot of the trend. Don't try to pick the bottom. Don't try to pick the top. Make your living in the sweet spot. And you all know, like, a couple of things, and the thread we did today was a really good one because it talked about, you know, why you shouldn't be trading right now. But another thing too, like, I'm a sweet spot kind of guy, right? This is where I was trading in this area. Like, this is better, you know, over like that. That's the area I'm trading. I'm a sweet spot. I'm not trying to pick the top. I'm never trying to pick the top. I'm never trying to pick the bottom. I'm trying to trade when I got momentum with me and take as most I can out of the market when conditions are favorable during the sweet spot of it. Let's look over at the S&P 500. It's into resistance. You could see that we're in, you know, like a couple of things. The markets didn't crash, right? Do you remember just last week, everyone's talking about the market crashing, CTM just bringing in that level headness, right? Well, we haven't had any technical breakdowns yet. There's no reason for us to think that the market is crashing over here. Giles with some flame work over here, some amazing precision chart work. You know, we looked at this all of yesterday in the FX trading session. Beautiful stuff over here. And this is the resistance that we're coming into on my chart, this red line over here. You can see the channel we're in. What's a technical breakdown to signify that perhaps we might be seeing, you know, I don't want to call it a crash yet, a correction in the markets, right? You have this prime trend line over here, the purple trend line. Remember CTM back in 2020? Look, as long as we're holding that, the market is looking entirely bullish in an upward sloping channel. Break outside of that trend line, that would be the first indication things are getting dicey. And then you would have this red trend line over here, the one that we've been looking at over as support. You got to get below 4,100 in that area for this thing to look bad. And right now, if we are able to break above where we currently are right now, right, we got massive room to the upside. Look at this channel over here. The target is this purple trend line, the prime trend line cloned, giving the resistance to the upside. So the markets are not crashing. We got to get some head snacking here before we continue.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing. The prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. The
markets are not crashing, and they're not crashing, and everyone's always looking for a crash. Look, the dollar's devaluing. And because the dollar's devaluing, equities keep going up. Everyone's looking for the market to crash. Everyone's looking for the market to crash. Everyone's looking for the market to crash. The markets are not crashing. It's probably one of the most important memes in all of the internet, right? And when the markets are crashing, it's all on video. Go back and watch February into March. We nailed it like no one's business, better than anyone else out there. We nailed it better than anyone else out there. Keith was there. Keith remembers. Many of you do. All right. What else? There's a couple of important good comments that I want to clarify before we go any further, right? Before we do that, Jason saying, listen, was there any effect from the June 25th Ethereum record amount of futures expiring? I don't know. I simply do not know. That is not my forte. I watched, and we have watched where max pain levels are, especially on Bitcoin, when options are expiring. I mean, it seems to me, as people were looking at moon phases yesterday, and you can't deny, whether it was selling or buying on the new moon and then on the full moon. I mean, probably most people would have been better working with the moon cycles. But was that actually the futures expiring cycles? I mean, that's when I saw that. That's what I was thinking immediately, and probably. But I don't know, Jason. I'm sorry that I can't give you the rundown over there. The daily dose of Bitcoin is Wyckoff accumulation seems to be playing out. What are my thoughts on Twitter? We have Jeremy, we have John K, who continue with other people, CTM collective knowledge, putting out the best baseline I know, even getting some Wyckoff experts, who said, listen, they think the spring was in a couple of days ago. And if you want to follow what's going on, go to my profile, go to my profile, find out the thread on Wyckoff, or go to John K, find out the thread on Wyckoff, and the conversation that continues, because that right there is the best information that I know of. And also Alan Au, I retweeted his tweet on Wyckoff and giving that different perspective, because we want those different perspectives. We want to triangulate our view to find out what's best. Selling the top, right? I'm exiting the top, you said, right? And this is a good, because it's so important to get the communication clear and correct. And we're dealing with some pretty complex things here. We're dealing not only with complex ideas, we're dealing with people coming from all different places, all different knowledges. Some people just beginning to learn about the markets. Some people with 30 years experience, way more than myself. Some people who have been watching each and every video and understand clearly what's going on. And some people get sound bites, right? So you said that I'm going to try to I said I'm going to sell the top, right? And isn't that what you do with Bitcoin modeling, predicting blow off tops? Martino, so it's all about price action. And I want to be very clear when I'm talking about trading, right? When I'm talking about trading and I'm talking about catching the sweet spot and doing it when there's momentum with you, that's one thing. And you have to separate. That's one box. We're talking about trading. It's time to trade when there's momentum. In trading, you're not trying to pick the top. You're not trying to pick the bottom. You're trying to get the sweet spot. Now we need to take that box and we need to organize it, right? Put it on this side over here. Take out another box. This is, HODL. This is spot position. This is strategy number 1, 3 ways to trade a Bitcoin bull market. I'm buying spot and I'm not touching it and I'm not moving it until we get to the top of the Bitcoin bull market. And then I'm selling the top. I'm exiting the top. That's the strategy from day 1. It has not changed, right? That's why I'm not selling what I believe to be mid-cycle. I'm buying the dip, right? Because I believe when it comes to selling the top and consulting the behavior of the Bitcoin cycle in order to do that, I don't even want to call it the 4-year cycle, the 210,000 block cycle of Bitcoin, right? I'm going to be exiting top, and I'm going to be doing that off of price action and watching, listen, nothing's guaranteed out there. There are no guarantees in life. And I've said it before, right? If you get within 25%, I said 20% of the top, you're a hero, right? And I'm going to try to do my best to get it out as close as possible, right? And I believe I'm going to do it, if things play out accordingly, right? If we don't have any type of blow off top, then it's going to be really difficult for me to sell the top. And obviously I'm not selling the top. And then again, we have people like Ken putting out models that are very important that we need to consult. We're going to figure out what's going on and make sure we do our best. And we have Ted and Ian. Oh my goodness, Team CTM is absolutely extraordinary. And it's not just Ted and Ian. Some of the realizations came from people like Jesse, and I forget the name right now. When we present to the community everything that has occurred, for sure proper credit will be given. There are many people within the Discord that have helped, the modeling team put together what they're looking at right now. And that's why it works, because there's no ego here. Everyone's just trying to work together. You see it coming from all places of the internet. Someone on Twitter being like hashtag CTM and sharing and dropping some important knowledge for everyone to look at collectively and consider whether or not they want to take it or leave it. And it's absolutely beautiful. So I hope that helps clarify just a couple of things as far as what we're talking about with trading during the sweet spot, and then when we're talking about a different strategy, which is I'm a hodler, and if I have the opportunity to sell the top, a blow off top, I'm selling that blow off top, or even if I decide that I'm not selling that top because of whatever's going on with capital gains in the US, and if I decide, you know what, I'm not going to sell the top, I'm still going to be like, this is the top. And I'll be like, I'm not selling it because instead I'm going to wait until Bitcoin trade down towards $50,000, $55,000, bear market low, and then I'm going to borrow against my Bitcoin as a non-taxable event. We'll talk about it. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend. Thanks for sharing the time today. Anthony, you want to see some silver? We talked about silver, right? First, we talked about silver. We'll bring up the chart for you really quick and just show you. Anthony, you remember you popped in on the channel over here? It was on April 7th. And you're like, what's going on? Because the title of the video that day had something to do with silver. Because we were talking about the breakout occurring, conquering the markets, correction, getting that trade out of the correction all day long, right? The masters, the best in the game out of it. And you see, boom. And then it was over here that we exited the trade. It didn't go our way. That's a nice trade, but it didn't go our way. We didn't have the opportunity to continue to push this because we're following price. Price started showing signs of weakness, clone this line over here, and that exit was over here though, and then clone this line. You can see the breakdown, retest, falling out of it. People over here last Wednesday want to buy. They just want to buy. We're like, well, we're not buying. It's not the time. This was the time to buy. This was the time to sell. Right now we're just waiting and watching. Right? And we're going to see what happens. We got resistance, we got support, and price all week has remained within it. That was the analysis given over here. As soon as price dropped down, well, we fell into support. We don't know if it's going to hold. We got resistance right above us. If we're going to get in here again, we're going to wait for some repair. Whether or not that looks like just taking out this resistance and then firming that into support, or we're going to see and wait for something else to develop, we don't know yet. And you have to be comfortable with not knowing. You have to be comfortable, and it's a position being on the sidelines. And in particular right now, silver, like the time to attack was the time to attack, and right now is not. Right now we are neutral, waiting and watching. And I'm not selling silver, right? I'm not selling Bitcoin. I'm not selling silver. I mean, we're in a massive uptrend. It's a bull market. I don't take it was really well put. Like, don't trade against your macro view. My macro view is the dollar devalues, precious metals go up long term. right? I'm not going to sell against my macro view. So I'm only looking to find the places to buy, right? Now, if you're a hero and you're the type of guy that like, you know, is trading the 3 minute and, you know, and have fun, do whatever you want, you know, but I'm telling you as it is. All right, everyone. That's it. You know, good session. Thanks for being here. That's good, Anthony. You're a hodler, right? And that's good. And you should feel good about your position, right? But, you know, I'm hodling silver here for over a decade here. It's not really doing much. it's it's not really doing much now over a decade. Man, I don't know. What's the meme? Buy Bitcoin, you know? Everyone, have a beautiful day. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend. Watch out for tomorrow morning's coffee and discussion with Ken. It's beautiful. It's important, and it'll really expand your mind. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you all on Monday. Thanks for spending the time over here. And I can't help it. So I'm going to just go out one more time here with some tunes. I don't believe Bitcoin's going to crash. I don't believe Bitcoin's going to zero. I'm just prepared if it does. All right, there's a lot of comments. I'm going to need to go back after this show over here and catch up on these comments over there. Listen, everyone. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I really appreciated all your good vibes this morning as we got in over here together. It's really special, and I'm grateful for it. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.